Mr. Mills. Mr. Mills is first, then Kimberly O'Hara. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Mills.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, thank you.
Tip that mic up just a little bit. Okay, that's good. Thank you.
I'm not up at David Elajam altitude, so.
That'll come later.
I want to thank you for the work that the council members and the staff put into this. This is difficult. I'll preface it by saying we're talking about a policy now that will be promulgated into a regulation. And for that reason, I think clarity is paramount in what we produce here. There's quite a bit in here to, no pun intended, to digest during lunch, but I think we have come quite a ways here in clarity. And I would point to certain things that I'm quite familiar with, having been on the Urban Stakeholder Committee for DWR's SBX 77 process, urban water management plans. And I just want to reiterate, we're moving down to the last paragraph now, items 1, 2, and 3. First is that not all agencies will be doing urban water management plans and ag water management plans because there's a standard for that. And so my understanding is that's the way it applies. We're not changing that standard.
Well, let me just make sure I understand this. This language is a substitute language for the proposed policy number 1.
Correct.
But the footnote 18, which defines water suppliers, will be retained in its present form. That's what I assumed would be the case.
And that's my assumption as well, is that we're not changing what's in the law right now by this policy. Second, that the standard that DWR has right now is that you will develop either demand management measures or best management practices in your urban water management plans. You have an alternative that if you're a member of the California Urban Water Conservation Council, you may do the latter, the BMPs. If you're not, you do the DMMs. They're basically the same thing, but this is all mumbo jumbo in urban water management plans. But those options are still open. And then the feasibility is determined by the local agency. And that is spelled out in the plan. You look at it. If you're in a disadvantaged community, some activities will not be feasible. The same activities next door will be feasible because of the income and the customer base that they have. And that's provided for already. 3, the expected measurable reductions would be a new metric. And I'm hoping that means that when the plans are updated in the next 5-year cycle is when we have to put that in and not go back and redo those plans that we just did. With regards to the 3rd paragraph down, I see the amount of water used, and I have queried staff on this. And my understanding is that we are talking about the water used on our baseline that we currently have, and we're operating off our current urban water management plan standards. The Department of Water Resources established baselines for every region in the state, and that's the amount of water used that we're indexed off of, at least in this first 5-year period. And with those caveats, I think this is with my own set of footnotes, I think we've got an acceptable policy here.
Okay. John, the only thing that you mentioned that may need clarification here, because I think you're correct, a lot of it is assumed or is included in other areas. But the idea of the item number 3, the measurable reduction, we probably need to specify that would be a part of the next update of the urban or ag water management plan for that agency.
And I do want to point out that as I've looked at 1, 2, and 3, to my way of thinking, there's some things that I would like to have the opportunity to sit down with staff and discuss as examples, because I could foresee a situation when new storage constructed in the Delta watershed would be able to sculpt the hydrograph in wet years and then reduce reliance on the Delta in critically dry years, and that would be a reduced reliance on the Delta at those times when the ecosystem needed that water mostly downstream. So I just want to make sure that the resource management strategies from the State Water Management Plan, which are much broader than what is listed here, are all the tools we have in the toolbox to work with this. So with those caveats, I'll close the book on that page.
Okay, now,